Okay, so my current issues in education topic was, are schools safer now than they were during the tragic Columbine school shooting? The issue I chose is, are schools safer now than they were during the tragic Columbine school shooting? The Columbine shooting of April 20th, 1999 was the first school shooting in America. 12 students and one teacher were murdered. This has caused a surge in protection in American public schools. The shooting was considered a massacre. Ever since Columbine, America has made an effort to make schools safer. These recommendations will include a range of issues like social emotional support, recommendation on effective school safety infrastructure, discussion on minimum age for firearms purchases, and the impact that video games and the media have on violence. The Department of Education has made solid efforts to do everything in their power to keep American schools safer. According to the School District of Tempe, they say, do not come back on campus in the event of a lockdown, evacuation, or other similar activity taking place at school. During a critical event, the primary responsibility of school staff, district staff, and emergency responders is to keep the campus and its occupants safe while the situation is resolved. A representative from the school district explains that staff regularly practices lockdown and evacuation drills with its students to prepare them in case of an emergency. On February 14th, 2018, 17 victims were killed by an armed gunman at a high school in Parkland, Florida. The man was 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz, a former student expelled from Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School the previous year. This event hit hard for many Americans, as it was not the first school shooting on American soil, killing innocent victims, and many knew it would most likely not be the last. Are schools safer today? After over 20 years from the first school shooting, many schools have made valid efforts to protect their students. Present your driver's license to be scanned and verified. Have your photograph taken. Pass your belongings through a metal detector. Thousands of schools have started making their students wear lanyards or ID badges. This is in the case of emergencies where they need to identify someone. Some schools have also built gates around their perimeters only to be opened at certain times in the day. Our staff regularly practices evacuations, lockdown procedures, and fire drills. How schools are not safer today. Even after the Columbine shooting, some schools' efforts to protect their students was not enough. Despite students knowing what to do in dangerous situations, lockdowns do not always work perfectly. Unfortunately, it is very easy to purchase a handgun in Arizona. To buy a handgun, you must be 18 years or older, provide an Arizona driver's license, and not fall under any of the prohibited persons categories. Even if an individual has an unclean record, there are ways to avoid a background check. My personal opinion. In my personal opinion, since the Columbine school shooting, schools are much safer. In my high school, they built a gate around our school that was only opened at the start and at the end of the day. They also made us wear lanyards with our school IDs in the pockets. Most schools also do not allow students to leave for lunch anymore. But with all these efforts, it will never be good enough. Unfortunately, if somebody really wants to harm people, they will, and they will do anything to get around the safety precautions schools put in place. Oftentimes, these precautions have done more harm than good. Instead, they have proven to be problematic, often doing more harm than good by criminalizing student behavior, contributing to negative school climate, and having psychological impacts on students' perceptions of safety.